Well, we shortened the rotation in the last couple of weeks to a month. We'll play it by ear, and we're not going to change who we are. And I feel extremely comfortable and confident in everybody on this team. So the opportunity is going to present itself, and guys, as usual, will stay ready.
For a person that was in 14 playoffs, what can you give your team for the first time being on the road in South?
I've been fortunate enough to play in a lot of playoff games and with some, very good basketball teams. At the end of the day, what you don't want to do is think that it's any different. It's still 5-on-5, and it's still, round basketball. At the end of the day, what has brought us to this point is going to be the very same thing that allows us to continue to play. So I don't want guys to think it's something different. Oh, the lights are brighter, but we are who we are.
Whenever a Denver sports team wins, like the Nuggets have at home, they always bring up the altitude thing. Nobody knows how much it really impacts, but I would guess in basketball it impacts more than when you're playing like on back-to-backs and stuff like that. How much is going to make a difference going in a couple days early?
Well, to me, I think it's going to make a difference. That being said, we're still playing against a very good basketball team that's exceptional at home, that's well coached. So at the end of the day, we've got to execute, we've got to follow our game plan, and be disciplined. That's more important than going in, a day or two early.
Hey, Coach, can you talk to us about the fans and the city rallying around the team? What do you make of that, the second playoffs in 19 years?
Well, the fans have been off the charts, and we certainly appreciate them. We feel the love and glad that to play a part of turning things around here. They've been very supportive. They've been very vocal. They've been consistent, and they've been better to us, than this team has been to them the last 19, 20 years. It's just great to be relevant right now, and they are embracing a group of guys that truly make them proud. But this fan base is, one of a kind.
Is there too much said about playoff experience, or is that does that change once the game starts? Does that kind of go out the window, or do you place an importance on playoff experience?
Well, it's valuable. It's certainly valuable to have playoff experience. That being said, that's not going to win ball games. I got a group of guys that probably don't have much playoff experience, but they're well aware of what wins ball games. And that does not change from regular season to playoff.
Going back to your early days in the game, when maybe you didn't have that playoff experience, did you find that once you got into the rhythm of the game, that became a lesser factor?
Looking back, my first playoff experience, not having playoff experience didn't send us home. The Boston Celtics with 4 Hall of Famers did.
Does Denver's depth make the minutes of your second unit play more important?
I don't know how,
I mean, more so than regular?
I don't know how much, my second unit will come into play. It's a field situation, but we have a total team that we're going to trust those guys, and whoever's on the floor. Their depth certainly challenges every team they face. You can't just let your guards down when, guys come in off the bench. They do an exceptional job of keeping the pressure on you.
Andrew didn't play in any of the 4 games you played against them. How does he change the dynamic against a team that really likes to attack the rim and the boards?
Well, I mean, you got to look at it both ways. His ability to protect the rim, his ability to rebound, but also that's a team that plays smaller. So, we're going to have to be committed to running back. So I think it can be very beneficial, but collectively we've got to be disciplined enough to make sure we get back, because that's how they, separate themselves.
Is that going to be the toughest challenge for him personally, do you
That's
think?
going to be the toughest challenge for us as a basketball team, 1 through 5.
Steph seemed to rise to the occasion this year in the biggest stages at the Garden, at Staples Center. He did it in college, in the tournament. Everybody knows the Nuggets are going to focus on him. What is it about his mentality that still makes him be able to be successful when teams do that?
Well, to me, the difference with Steph Curry is that he was, born with bright lights. He had a dad that was a professional athlete. The pressure was always on him to live up to expectations. And then on top of that, being good as a child of a professional athlete, the expectations are even higher. He embraced it, didn't run from it, and has been extremely successful with that. And the greatest thing about him is not that he turned out to be, an all-time great shooter or a heck of a basketball player, is the person that he is. And I'm extremely proud and excited about the success that he's had and what lies ahead.
Was it exciting to have a player like that finally get his moment on a big stage?
Well, he deserves it. It was very exciting. It's very exciting because he deserves it.
When you look at the whole arc of his season and you think about, he came into the season, his ankle was still an issue. Would he even start that very first game? And then to end it the way it ended, the regular season last night with the record. I mean, you called it a thing of beauty, I think, last night. I mean, does that really, I don't know, it's kind of an amazing story considering all the questions coming in.
Well, the only thing I can point to, I'm a man of tremendous faith, and so is Steph. And this season has truly been a blessing for him, especially coming in with so many question marks, so many doubts, health issues. He's made us proud, and he's put this team on his back and separated himself into a discussion with the best in the game.
How well do you know George, and what do you admire about his coaching style? You say he's a great coach.
Well, I know George very well. We worked together my first year in TV every weekend in Bristol with ESPN. So we spent a lot of weekends just chopping it up, agreeing and then disagreeing on different basketball topics. But he's a guy that's been consistent. He's won everywhere he's been. He's a basketball lifer, and he gets the most out of his players. He's a guy that, when you're talking about coaching, he knows the game, and his guys play for him.
The playoffs are always more of a chess match because you guys are going to see each other a lot here in the next week or two. How much are you looking forward to that?
The best team will win.
As far as the coaching standpoint.
The best team will win. That's the way it works out.
So you don't have anything to do with it?
The best team will win. Every series I've ever been part of, the best team has won. And Phil Jackson didn't, to me, out-coach Larry Bird. He won. He did an incredible job. They had the two baddest boys on the floor, in Shaq and Kobe. I've learned that the best teams ultimately win. If we win, it'll be because of my players. It won't be because I out-coached George Karl.
You talked when you got here about changing the culture in this team. Can you talk about where you are in that process and what this step means to that process?
Well, I think we no longer talk about changing the culture. I think it's a fact that the culture has changed, and the credit goes to those guys in that locker room. They've done an incredible job of buying in and being relevant on the first, when playoff starts, after 82 games. People are still talking about them, and that's what they looked forward to. And they're not talking about, okay, draft, who we're going to draft. They're talking about first-round opponent. And that's a heck of a statement about the culture being changed, and the credit goes to them. So I'm awfully proud of them, and I'm thankful that we have an ownership group and a management group led by, Joe and Peter, and a management group led by Bob, who believed in the process and didn't abandon ship.